So I'm doing something that I've never seen anyone do before, and I am changing the name of my program that I'm offering midway through the launch. And I want to tell you the story of why. So the program, for those of you who know, maybe some of you don't, was originally titled the Crystalline Rose Entrepreneur. It's just having a small change. It's going to the Crystalline Priestess Entrepreneur. But I wanted to tell you why and walk you through this past life sort of bit of remembrance that I had the other day, because I know that there will be many of you who can relate. So let's get started. So I am in a mystery school training that I just entered into, that's offered online with one of my teachers. And I was listening to the first class the other day. This was a long class. It was a few-hour class. So I just listened to the first half of it, in that session. And what my teacher was speaking about is we were, talking about Christianity because we're talking about using the word Christ in our, Christ consciousness, Divine Feminine Christ, and sort of reclaiming that. And what she spoke about was how the Romans actually co-opted early Christianity, so that instead of Jesus's message to all beings, say, you are all the chosen ones, you are all the anointed ones, you are all the sons and daughters of God, I'm just showing you what you can do. You can even do greater things than I can. Just embody your higher self, embody the source within you. And talking about you are all the Christ, you are all the anointed ones. What the Romans did is they said, okay, well, what if Christ meant, Jesus? What if he was the only Christ? He was the only anointed one. He was the King of Kings. And what if we could subdue and control our population by unifying them under one religion? Where this idea that, a human male was the all-pervading energy that we all needed to repent to and look up to, and he would have ultimate control. Because for the Roman emperor, that would really beautifully sort of highlight and showcase his ultimate rule, and really mimic that. And we went into a bunch of stuff. But anyway, the Romans, early Christianity, co-opted it. And what the Romans did is they said, okay, well, now this is law. Now, even though we basically were responsible a few hundred years ago for killing Jesus, because we did not like what he was saying, now we're just going to mutate what he was saying and make it work for us. And everybody has to believe it. All hail Jesus. So I was listening to that. Yes, I was. And I stopped the class, and it's a long class, so I just was like, okay, that's good for right now. And later on in the day, I meditated. I wasn't planning on meditating about the class, nothing like that. But before I meditated, I started to speak to my higher self, my guides and angels. Something that I like to do sometimes before I meditate is I like to pray, and I like to just ask for the help that I need, and just talk about things that I'm struggling with. And I spoke about how I just was feeling held back in my leadership and held back in my business and impact. Like I wanted to just connect with so many more people so deeply and really expand how much I was really impacting people and how deeply. But I was feeling held back from that. There was something that was holding me back. So I asked for help with that, and I was guided to just grab my Lemurian quartz crystal, put it on my womb, and just lie down to meditate. And what happened pretty quickly once I started breathing in, I just started breathing in the crystalline energy from the Lemurian quartz into my womb. And that highlighted something, and all of a sudden I was taken through a vision to basically the Roman times, these ancient times, and I saw myself in an underground prison with chains and with stones creating this prison. And I heard the message don't you remember, you're a priestess, and you were literally held back from sharing your light and sharing your self and sharing your expression, literally physically held back, emotionally held back, mentally held back. Like, this is still imprinted in your body. And I started going through and seeing more, and I saw the next layer. And so it was basically priestesses at this time where Christianity was becoming law, enforceable law, and anyone who was pagan, any, priestesses of the divine feminine, like that was now illegal. And the choices that basically priestesses had, if they had a choice at all, would be imprisoned, tortured, murdered. If you say, I'm going to keep doing this whole divine feminine thing and priestess and everybody's empowered, and yeah, okay, we don't like that, done. Second option would be, be forced to marry a Roman dignitary, a Roman official, or another foreign dignitary, or become their sex slave. Because priestesses were actually very highly revered throughout ancient society. And because they worked so diligently and they were so devoted to embodying the energy of the goddess and the energy of empowerment, they were some of the most beautiful, sensual beings around. So the men wanted them. And so now, the men can have them because it's law. Their work is outlawed. So either forced to marry, Roman official, foreign dignitary, or again, become a sex slave. Great. Not. And then the third option that I felt into was flee. Just try to flee, try to escape the empire. But that was very difficult at the same time because the Roman Empire was all over Europe, all over the Middle East. So it was an option that some of them had if they, got out in time, but still had a lot of risk associated with it. And when I was really downloading these options and remembering them, I hit a place within me that it was like I felt guilt, guilt for maybe I did choose the option of, marrying a Roman official. I don't think I did, but there was this guilt around the options. It wasn't really clear what the guilt might have been, or just it was just pain too. It was just pain. Anyway, the crystal energy the Lemurian quartz was on my womb, and I breathed it in again, and I just hit this part in my womb, and it was this waterfall, or just energy came up. Not a waterfall, because waterfall is too soft. It was and I just started crying, weeping, intensely, 0 to 100. Not I'm starting to get a little bit sad, and it was boom, and I was and then after a minute, it was full force, and then it just stopped, and I was okay, that was a release. Yeah, that was a release. And then I was brought into this vision of this temple, and it was the Crystalline Rose Entrepreneur Temple, because I see my offerings as temples. We're creating etheric temples. They're sacred spaces that, sacred beings meet in to do sacred work. So they're temples. And I was brought into the Crystalline Rose Entrepreneur Temple. But it showed itself to me as a new name, the Crystalline Priestess Entrepreneur Temple. And I saw some beings gathering in there, and basically was just shown, reiterated. I mean, I kind of knew this, but it was very strongly reiterated of your work is for the priestesses. Your work is for the devotees of the goddess, and it will be for the rest of your life. That's who your work is for. And it just felt right to just anchor into the Crystalline Priestess Entrepreneur. To me, the Crystalline Priestess Entrepreneur, the priestess part is just honoring, a little bit more honoring the humanity of it all, and the wounds and the devotion to the goddess and to source. It almost grounds it a little bit more for me. And then the crystalline is that, who we really are. So what came through after all of that, and the Crystalline Priestess Entrepreneur is still, the new program that we're doing, 5 months. We start April 22nd. I always get it wrong. Still infused with rose energy. We're definitely working with the rose and the Divine Mother. It's just a bit of a name change. And also what came through is what happens when the priestesses heal from their wounds from these past lives? What happens when we strip off these fears of being seen, of being heard, of embodying our light, the trauma of being raped and murdered and all of that? What happens when we peel that off and we transmute it? what we're left with is our crystalline energy, our crystalline light bodies anchored and embodied in our bodies. So we can be crystalline priestesses. So this journey that we're going on is more revealed to me. It's like, well, also what it really is we're helping the priestesses to heal, to remember who they are, to awaken to their natural gifts, and to also transmute those really deep wounds that most other people just will not understand. Like you'll sign up for other business programs and like there's not going to be much, if anything in there for the priestesses to truly heal at the level that they need. So this is a training that's like, hey, I get it and I see you. And these wounds go really deep, these wounds that prevent us from expressing ourselves, from saying what we really want to say. Oh, they'll think I'm crazy. Something really bad will happen to me if they think I'm crazy. It's like, yeah, that's all I have to say really about that. It's like, yes. So, yeah, you're invited into the Crystalline Priestess Entrepreneur. You're invited. I have discount codes available for early bird until April 14th if you are interested in joining us. If you'd like to learn more, you can, if you're seeing this on Instagram, head to the link in my bio. If you're seeing this on YouTube, head to the description. If you're seeing this on Facebook, the link's going to be somewhere around. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I feel like I'm getting a little bit like, it's a little spacey now. I've just made a lot of videos, so I think I'm done. So blessings on your journey. And may your business be blessed. May your heart be blessed.